Okay. What's up, legends? How's everybody doing? Let's analyze the situation here for the price of Bitcoin. Got a nice little movement to the downside of a few $1,000s on the news, on the tariff news. Just about an hour ago, we got that news 2 hours ago, actually. Let's analyze the situation here all together. How is everyone? Make sure to absolutely destroy that like button. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. Let's go, legends. What an interesting drop that we had here on the price of Bitcoin. Very, very nice indeed. Okay. I did not short this. I mean, you could have shorted the news coming out. This is all depending on your trading style, but I didn't get into this short position. We'll be analyzing the situation because now the price needs to settle down. Once we settle, we're going to talk about some levels, possible projections, and analyze the situation for our next trading setup. Who was here on yesterday's stream? Let me know right away in the comment section, because yesterday we talked about a setup. We try and talk about setups almost every day here on the stream, right? We're always very careful with our risk management, very careful on the different projections. And we had an invalidation level on yesterday's stream, possible entry zone here around the VWAP, right? Looking for a higher low to be created at the 110,700, 800 range, right? That was the zone that we wanted the price to maintain as support. We had an invalidation here on this higher low, potentially to claim the highs again for a take profit. That level did struggle to hold, I have to say. It did struggle to hold, but it ended up holding here very nicely. The invalidation was not hit, very wicky, and we took out the highs, giving that profitable trading setup in the end, right? It was like, oh, it's not looking good, it's trying to hold, but in the end it held okay. And eventually whoever got into a long setup here, your take profit is the highs, right? Because if you did not take profit at the highs, then you either got stopped out, or if you're not managing risk, right, you could be underwater right now, right, if you're using cross margin. So very technical. We look for day trading setups, invalidation levels. We targeting the highs. We are uptrending. Okay, the short position here was a little bit complex. Eventually, you know, the shorting scenario was just looking at this to be the high and have a double 1-2 setup, which is probably what we're looking at. So could the price have a V-shaped recovery, or are we going to downtrend for a little bit? We're going to explain the exact scenarios here on the stream. So make sure to stay tuned, because we build up the scenarios. Now, of course, this drop has been pretty aggressive. You know, a lot of people very emotional. Shall we short right now because we're going to go to lower levels, or should we long because it's going to V-shape, right? Come on, you know, this cannot be the top, right? I'm just going to long randomly this major drop. We are getting a little bit of a reaction right now, which is looking very interesting. But I'm going to explain how the price could develop, right, in the next coming hours, and look for those major levels, major trading setups, because that's what we do here on the channel, right? Let me know in the comment section, did anybody, right, got into this trade setup? It was the level to hold, the VWAP. We got an invalidation, clear invalidation. We could see this as a corrective structure. We could get that leg to the upside, at least to claim those highs. That was the local internal scenario as we were holding that VWAP with the invalidation. Stop loss was not hit, and the highs were taken, giving you that 3-to-1 risk to reward on yesterday's stream. It was the only setup. Of course, if we were to get that drop, this was the level of interest. You just get stopped out, and we analyzed the situation here. But this was the internal level for that long trading setup that played out very, very nicely, not hitting the invalidation and taking out the highs. Okay, so let me know in the comment section right away, because we'll be building the day trading setups right away. This is what we do best here, guys. All right, like no one else, I would like to say that, but I'll let you with the opinion on that. Let's go right away through the comment section. Okay, we like to start off with our chart blank, right? Nothing on the chart, no silly indicators on the chart, and just pure price action, analyzing the waves and the most important confluence levels, right? Regardless if it's point of controls, high volume nodes, right? We can use a little bit of fair value gaps if you wish, okay, and some order blocks. We'll be building up here a little bit of a strategy that is leading us to a profitable trade, right? We're not here to get in lots of trades, long, shorts, let's long, let's short, let's, you know, we're here to plan the trading setups, understand which is our invalidation and which is our take profit zone. Just like the trade mentioned yesterday, well, and many other days, right? But we're just going to go with yesterday's one, right? Which is this one right over here. Clear invalidation, clear level of support, clear take profit, which is taking out the highs. Anything that happens outside of that, it doesn't matter. We do not care. We have the setup, and that's what we try to do, right? We look for the probabilities and look to have very good risk management, and we plan our trades here, right? We plan our trades. So we'll be building up a plan here for a trading setup, because that's what we want to do. We want to add the profitable trading, right, setups into our book, because that's what it's all about. It's long, consistent game. So for the moment, I didn't get into a short, guys. Let's be clear. Would have been nice to get into a short here, but overall, I was having lunch when the news came out, and we're going to build up right now. You know, why? You know, we're holding support here. How could the price develop, and what are the most interesting levels that we want to realize, right? You might think, let's long right now. It's going to V-shape. Come on, you know, bull run structure is still relatively good. We need to analyze the movement to the upside that we had throughout the last few days to try and understand a little bit, is the market structure broken? Would it make sense to get a V-shaped recovery from here or not? What are the probabilities, right? We're going to build that up together here, legends. Let's go through the comment section. Bear with me here because the first 10, 20 minutes of the stream, it's a little bit of talking, a little bit of analyzing, the drop, go through the comment section, get some people in, get some people smashing up that like button, okay? Let's pump it up, legends, because, hey, come on, let me know if you did jump into that long position yesterday. This was something that was on stream. This is the local support level. We're uptrending. Let me know right away if you did jump into that trading setup. Okay, so, and Ethereum target dump. We can take a look at Ethereum later on, but I'm more interested in trading Bitcoin. As you know, that's the sweet spot. That's where I know how to read the market. Look, altcoins can get very volatile and very difficult many times. 0.88 rejection, bullish. 0.88 rejection, bullish. Where did we hit the 0.88? I'm not sure. 0.88 rejection, you're saying somewhere here. We did not hit the 0.88 on any of these movements down, but that would have been a bullish sign eventually, but we did not. So let's go quickly through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Carlos here with the crap. Oh my goodness, with the dump. Hamza, bullish. Carlos, what's going on? Yeah, guys, obviously we're uptrending. We are very much aware of these major flash crashes, right? Don't get into the hype. Stay very defensive. This ain't a zone to get into swing long positions or, just think that Bitcoin's going to go to 150K, right? This is a dangerous environment right now for longing, and you need to be very responsible with your longs up here because we know how the market moves to the downside. It will blow your socks off. We could drop $10,000 tomorrow, right? And everybody's like, what the heck's going on? This is what happens when you just massively bullish move to the upside and then you suddenly get a major crash, right? It's just, we want to be very defensive when we are trading and we're getting into long positions, all right, in this zone, all right, and have a proper strategy, see different developments on the price action. And if you don't see that, if nothing goes according to plan and you have a good stop loss, you don't trade. You just don't get into a trade, right? So we're going to try and develop a few trading setups, okay? Regardless, short or long, we're going to talk about both. We try and talk about both eventually on the channel here. Yesterday and throughout the last couple of days, shorts were not very interesting. We were very much interested in longs with the uptrend. But are we interested in a short with this drop, okay? With this major drop? Well, I'm going to talk about the levels and how the price could develop in the next coming hours between today and tomorrow. Of course, the weekend is coming, so we could be forming a very choppy range, which is going to be very interesting, okay? So bear with me here. We build it, okay? This is pure education, of course, as well, guys. No financial advice. This is a way on how you can read the market like I read it, which for day trading setups is very, very successful, right? And you are here to absorb that information and use it for yourself at the end of the day, right? Just like yesterday, for example, right? We can talk about the previous days as well, but we're just going to go through yesterday. We ain't going to start, talking about, hey, this the other day, and rest of it. Yesterday was the scenario, understanding the invalidation, understanding the uptrend, understanding, the different projections. And we are going to build a few setups today, right? On Bitcoin mainly. So V-shaped recovery or continuation to the downside? That is the main question for many, right? Is it going to V-shape? We have levels, we have structures. That's what we're going to do. Bitcoin shorts incoming, careful, says 𝗕𝗫𝘆𝗽. Crypto gradients. Hey, Andy, good morning from Brazil. Absolutely awesome. New York, more dump. Maybe the fear will be real. I don't know. Maybe we got New York open in 10 minutes. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. We want to be a little bit aware on what could happen on New York open. But we're going to develop some different movements that could happen, right? Get the structure right. Get the most important zones. Valerie, aloha. Much love to you. Happy Friday. Trump's tariff news pushing the market down again. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Lucifer, please don't use that song later. Spring sound. Okay. Sorry, my man. Anup, much love. Milan, market looks like crap. 100K, says Juviette. Can see and hear. Absolutely awesome. Trump made a tweet. I heard. Yes, that's the main thing, right? You're going to see this popping up everywhere on YouTube, on X, right? Trump recommending a 50% tariff on the US starting June 1st. This was just a few hours ago, if I'm not mistaken. and the market did take a little bit of a shake, right? A little bit of a shake, nothing too major, a drop of a couple of $1,000. It's, you know, on the lower time frame, it looks horrible, but yeah, not a huge drop, right? A huge drop would be $10,000. It's just been $2,000-3,000 of a major dip, right? So now the question is, have we broken structure? Could be this the start of a larger pullback. We'll be analyzing a little bit of the scenarios on the higher time frame, understanding the market structure, guys. Okay, it's going to take some time, but I'm going to explain a little bit of what we're looking for, right? I can't just say this is a good long, this is a good short. We need to develop different possibilities, right? How the price could move, right? Because we do know, I know how the market moves, and I know it moves in certain different ways. And those certain different ways can be 4 or 5 ways, right? And we're trying to spot that, you know, will it move like this or will it move like that? If it moves like that, then I'm interested in this, right? So we'll be developing here a little bit of the different scenarios. Pac-Man, my man, much love to you. Just want to go quickly say hello, okay, to everybody. I will feel bad if I don't say hello to everybody, or most of the people. Dano Crypto, we got a stream together. Yeah, absolutely, to have you on. Dano Crypto here in the comment section. Make sure to go and check him out, guys. Dano also talking about crypto and, you know, many things every day on his channel. We got a stream together soon. Love to have you on. Absolutely epic. Let's go right away. Dano, much love. Oreo, hey Andy, Oreo, much love. Suzanne, I was already in a short from 110K. Woohoo, let's go. Suzanne on the short, right? Suzanne on the short from 110K. Yeah, this is the thing. If you do catch the news, right, early, then of course you can attempt, you do know that, you know, these tariff news usually have an impact. I think the news was just here before the major drop, right? That's what impacted the drop, right? So if you can catch that, you know, that drop, you can kind of jump into the short, always having a stop loss, right? Above the last lower high, for example, depending on where you entered. I wouldn't enter a short down here, right? That's definitely not. If you didn't catch the beginning of the news, it's not worth it, right? So I'm not a news trader anyway. So I just let for the price to settle. We have our levels, we have our patterns, right? The news happened, and then we can develop some different strategies. Panic sell first and buy back. Yeah, this is the thing, right? This will create a lot of panic selling, without a doubt. A lot of panic selling. And this is the kind of movement that probably can kind of V-shape, right? It can V-shape, which is interesting. All of these events, you know, do get people very, very bearish. We're pushing, yeah, we're trying to bounce here very nicely. Was a double top. Was a double top on the higher time frame. I would expect that, right? BTC 50x leverage long from 108.5. Yeah, stay cautious, guys. I know everybody's, you know, taking trading as, you know, let's go do a super aggressive shortcut. Long from here, V-shaped recovery, loading, right? Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting without a doubt. You know, this is the kind of news drop. Driven drop. Okay, so nothing too major when you look at the higher time frame. When you do take a look at the higher time frame, though, we got someone saying double top, right? This is it, guys. Double top on Bitcoin, just like the previous cycle, right? When we do take a look at the previous cycle, oh my goodness, you know, imagine that, right? Getting it a little bit wicky. I would expect a short-term double top scenario, right? Maybe pump to 115 or 116. Maybe we won't reach 120, but expect a kind of a correction shakeout, and then, you know, maybe continuation. Let's see, you know. Higher time frame for me is very, very bold, right? Because there's so many different events and scenarios that could happen that, you know, giving these random predictions of Bitcoin's going to go to $200,000 or it's going to go to, or it's going to double top right now. We really need to analyze the local structure, guys. This is what we do best here. So we can really determine if we are going to correct more, right, in the next coming days, or will we just V-shape, right? Lower, you know, lower time frames, local time frames is the bomb diggity, right? If you want to get your trading setups right, in my opinion. So double top right there in the previous cycle. You got this right over here. Some people in the comment section saying double top. It's going to double top. Yeah, it's a possibility, of course, right? We don't know what could happen, but it's Bitcoin, it's bullish, right? This drop is very interesting. So what we want to analyze on the stream, this movement to the upside has been very, very, very bullish, right? Very, very shallow pullbacks. What is interesting here is this being a zigzag, you have the correction, and this being a zigzag also. That would be awful because this would be a three-wave structure. We don't, you know, that would be the bearish case scenario, right? Double top like the previous cycle, everybody's calling for a massive cycle and we all wrong, right? I would think that Bitcoin would continue to the upside despite a correction possibly, right? That's what we would like to see. But there is actually a bearish case scenario. Eventually, it would be that double top, right? And analyzing this as a double zigzag, we want to count this as a impulse. It does look more impulsive, but a double zigzag is definitely on the cards right now because you formed a zigzag here, the correction, and this zigzag right over here, right? So WXY, and of course, most devastating scenario is that you're looking at this as a wave, this as a B wave, double zigzag, and then you are looking for a flat, right? Regardless if it's a running flat or a, you know, expanding flat, which is actually getting beneath $70,000, right? $74,000. We ain't going to go that way, guys. Okay. We ain't going to go that way. Market is bullish. You know, now that we got the drop, are we going to start talking about bear market? Absolutely not. Okay. But there is that bearish case scenario. So overall, this uptrend, looking very, very choppy. We do have start of increased volume, red volume. Okay. We were seeing here the volume throughout multiple exchanges, you know, increasing here. So eventually, if you do see this as your wave one, part of your wave three, you have increased volume in the middle. That's what you want to see in an impulse. So now the question is, are we just chopping here, finishing the wave, right? Are we finishing the wave right over here? We got decreasing volume. We got start of red volume at the top, right? Everybody wants to sell. Not everybody, but I would say a lot of people want to sell at all-time high. Everybody's in profit here, right? That's the famous saying. Everybody that bought Bitcoin in the history of history of Bitcoin, everybody's in profit. Who will it be? Who will be the first whale to sell, right? Who's going to be the first one, right? Are you going to wait for, you know, 200K, 150K? Will it be in this cycle, next cycle? You know, that's definitely a problem here. When everybody's in profit, you know, everybody says price discovery, we're going to go to extreme higher levels. This is the moment that it's really not the greatest time to buy Bitcoin, in my opinion. I do see that Bitcoin goes to $500,000 and $1 million in the future. There's no doubt about it. I've got my long-term bags, and I don't care if the price goes to 50K or, you know, 80K or 20K. It doesn't matter. It's a long-term thing, accumulation. But this is not really the greatest zone, in my opinion, right, to buy Bitcoin and expect some returns in the next coming months, some epic returns, right? Because it's not going to be like that. So let's focus here on, you know, just price action. We haven't got anything on the chart, guys. We will build up some scenarios right away. Make sure to destroy the like button. We've got almost 1,000 people watching. Let me just double check here with the like button because my like button doesn't work too well. Oh, like button. It's doing okay. Almost 200 likes, almost 1,000 people. Make sure to destroy that like button, guys. And we'll focus here on the local time frame. And what is more interesting on the local time frame, all right, regardless if this is a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5, we're going to get another 4 5. Has the 4 5 finished, right? Regardless of do we have more higher lows here and more highs to come with these shallow pullbacks? Is it possible? Okay, it does not matter. Well, what we need to focus on, as we do always, we ain't going to talk about this run up. We're going to focus on the last leg to the upside from the last few days after this consolidation, right? This is the movement that we are going to focus on the stream, all right? The latest leg to the upside, right? And the latest leg to the downside, to analyze what different structures are possible, right? So we can determine where is our next good trading opportunity, like the one here yesterday provided to take those highs. We did maintain that VWAP and we took the highs. Let me know in the comment section, did you manage to get into this day trading setup that was provided yesterday that finally held very nicely that higher low and took out the highs? Okay, we were analyzing the structure here very nicely and we finally got that leg to the upside. Let me know in the comment section, did anybody jump into that long? Please don't rush, wait to settle down. Exactly, wait for the price to settle down, and that's what we're doing. Pac-Man, much love to you. Crypto, it's not Andy. There's always a bearish scenario in any market at any point in time. Yeah, this is the thing. Hey, don't. The real volume arrives after the Nasdaq open. Yeah, it's going to open right now, so we're going to get stock market open. I longed at 107k this morning. 107k, did we reach 107k? Yeah, 107,300 this morning. It must have been half an hour ago, right? So let's analyze here the latest move to the upside. We got stock market opening right away. Let's take a look at Nasdaq. I do have it here somewhere. Stock market is opening right now as we speak. Probably wants to V-shape or continue to the downside, so we want to be cautious in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But let's build up that scenario, right? Let's understand the market structure here. Of course, one scenario here was this, right? For me, this was the end of the move. This is what we were kind of predicting, right, throughout the previous streams. This could definitely be the low for the next leg to the upside. Also with this momentum, right, looking for the price to continue to the upside. A few days ago, really looking at this to be the end of the sideways corrective move at $102,000 level, okay, to be the end, to form our next wave momentum to the upside. So that's what we want to do here. Analyze very carefully this structure. Can this be a corrective move? Is there room here for this to be a wave 4 and we do create a wave 5 here, right? And then maybe we correct to the downside. Absolutely. Price is getting a nice bounce with New York Open. New York Open is not moving here too much to the upside. Yeah, it is pumping a little bit right now, which is helping Bitcoin to get that bounce. Whoever catch the falling knife, very, oh, I was going to say very good, but anyway, I'm not a fan of catching falling knives. What is very interesting about this latest move, okay, so we're counting the move, right? We're counting the structure from this level, okay? So we're going to count this movement to the upside, and then we're going to analyze this drop, the drop from the highs that we created yesterday, and analyze the situation. All right, we're bouncing here pretty nicely. We still got VWAP to the upside, okay? We're going to build up a strategy here, guys. There's no rushing into longs now because we're pumping, or jump into a short right now because it's going to form a lower high. There's time, okay? We're going to really see how the New York Open is, affecting the price. And if we do hit certain levels, we're going to have some different strategies here, okay? Just like we do. Bear with me here because we do end up looking for the perfect setup, right? The perfect setup, which is going to be the high probability setup, right? I'm not here to jump in a long, jump into short just because the price is bouncing or just because we have resistance. We need the structure. We need the levels, okay? So far, so good. Getting a little bounce here to the upside on New York Open. So we don't, I'm not interested personally on the volatility the first 10, 15 minutes. I'm more of a range guy when everything stabilizes a little bit and then look for the highest probability trading setup, right? That's just my style. I don't trade the news. I don't trade the New York Open. If I have a position on New York Open, I want to be defensive, just not interested in the local volatility. So let's analyze the structure from this movement. For me, this momentum starts from here. So we got that nice push to the upside. We got the corrective move. We got another push to the upside. Then we had a little bit of a volatility fest right over here, which I like to label it as an ABC flat. There's just no other way to count it. For this to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's not an expanding move. Is this the correction? I don't like it. I like to see this as an ABC flat. So this is your next wave to the upside, your next wave to the downside. And now the question is, do we have a 3, 4, and 5? Okay. Potentially finishing your third wave right over here. And then you have your fourth wave. And then we're just going to build up to get that fifth wave here to the upside, right? We've got the most interesting volume here in this zone, right? In this zone, in the middle of this zone. So we'd assume that this big move to the upside has been part of your largest wave, right? So let's go right away through the Fibonacci levels, because if this, right, we're just gonna point out here this as a possible structure. Right, is this your wave 1, wave 2? Is this your wave 3? Is this your wave 4? We're going to get another push to the upside here. Is that possible, right? We do not see overlap from this wave right over here. We did not touch it. However, if we get Fibonacci from this pivot low to the pivot high, we also did not hit the golden pocket, which is our invalidation for that wave 4. So if anybody is trading Elliott Wave theory, right, and understands that you cannot overlap your wave 1 here, if this is your wave 3, you probably want to try and catch the 50% to the golden pocket without hitting the golden pocket, because that is your invalidation. Anybody that's catching a falling knife, if you consider Elliott Wave theory, well, golden pocket is your invalidation for your wave 4. So you kind of missed it there by a hair, taking Fibonacci from this pivot low to the pivot high of yesterday, right? If we are labeling this as your wave 3. So it would have been an interesting bet, right? You would obviously say 50% needs to hold without hitting the golden pocket if you are reading the market like this, right? Which for me is the correct way. This would be the correct way of labeling this structure right over here. Just understanding that all of this is one wave, right? All of this is one wave to the upside, despite the volatility that you have in the middle here. And this is your first wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Your wave 4, we're going to give it a chance, okay? And the chance here for this wave 4 to increase in probabilities that we will get a recovery in taking out the highs is really going to be identified as soon as we hit certain levels here, okay? If we do get to this circle right over here that I'm pointing out, the probabilities increase drastically that we will be taking out this high. And I'll explain in the next coming minutes, okay? We're probably coming up to the VWAP right now. Yeah, VWAP is just a hair away, all right? We're just a hair away from hitting the VWAP at this moment. But overall, let's continue with a bullish scenario, right? I would say that this is not bearish. It's not a bearish move. It's not a movement to be panicking about, right? We're still in bullish market structure. This still makes sense. We haven't overlapped the first initial wave. Like as mentioned, the last few days, we're looking at all of this sideways momentum for the wave to finish here. And the initial structure starts from here, right? You know, this uptrend starts from here, right? If you want to count it from here or here, well, you know, I just figured out that this is the best way of counting this, you know, this scenario, right? This sideways momentum, which has kind of played out, right? Just a few days ago, we actually talked about a long position in this zone, and even a long position on the trend breakout right here, keeping it very simple that this could be your initial first wave to the upside, right, throughout the last few days, right? That was the main idea. This is the low, very possibly being the low. This is an interesting zone of support. You can get into the trend breakout here to create some new highs. We're still leaning on this scenario. We also leaned on this scenario at the $102,000 range to be the low. That was on the stream. I think it was on Monday, right? I mean, this sounds like it was ages ago. This was only 4 days ago, right? Leaning on this to be the low for our next momentum to the upside. So we got the momentum. Of course, we got this little bit of a flash crash. Now it's becoming very interesting because the high probability trades are just, you know, around the corner on a new setup, right? On a new setup. There's opportunities every day, guys, right? We don't need to catch all of the moves, right? Yesterday, we talked about this scenario, you know, remaining patient. This is the level actually on stream. You know, we had analyzed this structure. We were analyzing the potential of getting that push up here to the upside. Played out very, very nicely. I'm not too interested in the volatility open, okay? And I'm going to explain a little bit of the few setups. So is this possible? Absolutely, right? Do we still have another leg to the upside? Absolutely, yes. We're analyzing this structure from this low. We got the first push up. We got the correction. We got this that you can count 5 waves to the upside, because people are going to get confused with this move right over here. And you just need to label this as an ABC flat, running flat, because you can't count this as a second wave 1 and 2, another wave 1 and 2. This is the third wave. It doesn't make sense, right? You can't label this as your wave 3, this 4 and this 5. I mean, you technically could on a contracting diagonal, because it didn't hit the invalidation. But this was a very fast move down for a correction and then back up. Okay, so we're just labeling this as a flat. There's no more to it, right? It's the highest probability scenario when we're reading this structure. So for this scenario to play out, okay, let's just zoom in on the local time frame. Right now, we're going with the bullish case scenario, okay? This is your wave 4. We did find some support here. I mean, I think we are below the previous all-time high. That's going to be interesting, guys. This level right over here is the previous all-time high, okay? So previous all-time high, I mean by January, right? January's all-time high. Just a level that you consider. If you get below it, you're very possibly going to get some kind of a reaction. That is also sitting where the local VWAP is, right? The session VWAP is just sitting ever so slightly below the previous all-time high. So it's, it's going to be interesting. I think, I don't think that we're going to slice through here in V shape. I think we could get some reactions here at the previous all-time high, kind of for a back test, which is going to be very, very interesting. So leaning with this scenario, this is very much valid. We did not hit the golden pocket from this pivot low to the recent pivot high of yesterday. Okay, golden pocket not hit. You did not overlap this pivot. Just a sharp correction on your possible wave 4 here. And now we're trying to build that momentum to the upside. And now is what we're going to focus on, the local structure, right? Would it make sense for this to be a correction, right? Would it make sense for this to be a corrective move since we created yesterday's highs, right? Do we see this as a correction, or does it look pretty impulsive? I mean, this movement down without a doubt has had a pretty strong impact, right? Big movement down here. So let's analyze here a little bit of the structure to see does this make sense to be a correction. For me, it is a little bit aggressive, right? It is a little bit aggressive for that corrective move. This massive move to the downside from the highs of yesterday. We do have this boom, 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 right? This kind of makes a little bit more sense to be a double 1-2 setup, right? Very, very hard here to label this as a correction. Could it be a flat from this zone, right? Like this. To label this as a corrective structure, we got a little bit of an issue, right? This would have been a beautiful zigzag and then continuation to the upside, 3-wave structure. But this is what we got. We got a bit movement down, lower highs, and then this big movement to the downside. So there's an issue here of counting this as a corrective move. Don't get me wrong, right? It's a little bit of a struggle to really count this as a corrective move. Let's go with a flat idea here. We hit the 2.618 extension. That is extremely aggressive for an expanding flat. Okay, it's I like to label this as the high, just because we do have a 5-wave structure to the upside here. So it is a bit of an expanding move, but there's a 5-wave structure that we created on this high. So we want to label this correction from this point if it were to be a corrective move. Now, it does look very 5-wavy. However, if we're labeling this as a correction and we're trying to figure out this, could it be a correction? For this to be a wave 4 still, it's still very much valid. What I do see from the highs of yesterday is a zigzag move down, a possible running flat in this case, and then the next, very, very aggressive zigzag here. And this would be like, you're trying to find a correction here. Look at the volume, but this would be the valid count that you would be looking at for this to see this as a correction, right? This is a correction. We're just going to have a V-shaped recovery. This was just fear in the market. That would be the only way, because if I do count this, you got a one wave, corrective wave, one wave, corrective wave, and then a big dump. So you would expect kind of a bounce in a fourth wave, and then 4, 5, 4, 5, right? And then really see the bounce later on, right? That would be the ideal scenario for the bears, right? To maybe get that bounce and then continue to the downside. Let's talk about the bullish case scenario, because Bitcoin is bullish. I wouldn't say that this is, oh my goodness, this is the moment where the market is going to collapse. No, we need to figure out, okay, there is a valid corrective structure here, which would be the zigzag, flat, and a zigzag. It is a very, very aggressive double zigzag, just because it's been impacted with the news. All of the levels here, considering the higher time frame scenario on the structure, still leans on the possibility of this to be a scenario, right? We will talk about the bearish case, and we will talk about when does this scenario increase in probabilities, and it really needs to hit certain levels, right? If we are looking at this as a corrective structure to then V-shape and continue to the upside, the probabilities will increase drastically as soon as we hit the golden pocket from this pivot high to the pivot low, which is not the case. For the bears, for the bearish case scenario, anybody that wanted to short the market because they do see lower prices, 50% is like your limit zone if we are considering the bearish case, right? And the bearish case eventually is you got your wave 1, your wave 2 right over here. You are still developing your wave 3, then you get your wave 4 and your wave 5. Why are you still developing your wave 3 in the bearish case scenario? Because you do have your second wave 1 and 2, and now your third wave with the highest amount of volume, right? Very scary, big drop, third wave. You need to map this situation as your third wave. Fourth wave, fifth wave to finish your third wave, right? So let's just change this color, right? Put this a little bit bigger. We would go with this being the extreme bearish case, and the bears do have the chance here, right? If they do hold the golden pocket, right? The golden pocket is not hit and the VWAP is not hit. 50% is the last zone here for the bears locally. Once you hit the golden pocket from this movement down, which is just about $600-700 away, the probabilities for the bullish case scenario for this to be a wave 4 right over here, we'll change this into big numbers, right? Big numbers right there. The probabilities for this scenario right over here, and create another high in the next coming days, increase drastically as soon as you hit the golden pocket from this movement to the downside. So we would be leaning on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as soon as the golden pocket is hit. Now your question right now, does that mean we long instantly here at the golden pocket? Absolutely not. Preferably we do get a corrective structure, and we're going to analyze the local time frame to see what are the different probabilities. So, yeah, let's dive in right away through that scenario. Let's dive in right away through that scenario. Hang on a minute. Not sure what I'm doing here with my drawing. My goodness. Let's just delete a few things here. The bears have their chance right now. Of course, the market got the drop based on news. We're getting a nice little bounce. Now, of course, NASDAQ is, yeah, got a bounce, got a correction. I would lean on the bullish case scenario, right? I would, this is a kind of moment where you're going to get lots of longs liquidated on this drop. Fear has kicked in just in the last few hours based on the news. It's just a quick fearful news, which kind of is like a V-shaped recovery, right? Excuse, right? It's an excuse for a V-shaped recovery. So I wouldn't be too confident on the bearish case scenario, but of course your invalidation is the golden pocket and the VWAP and the all-time high. Literally, it's all together. It's the confluence zone that we have right now, which, despite hitting the level, which is resistance, I would be more interested in checking the possible rejection. That is where I would be interested in saying, okay, it's game on for the bulls, and look for long positions, right? The moment we hit that golden pocket from this movement down, this would be too much of a retracement for the bears, right? For this to be a multiple 1-2 setup, right? This is like the classic, right? And we do like corrective moves to end on a high amount of volume, right? Your C waves, right? Or your WXY finishing on a high amount of volume, right? Which looks scary. And then eventually look for that possible, recovery. But the bears do have a chance here, right? If this is going to be a bearish drop, as long as you maintain the 50% Fibonacci and you do not hit the golden pocket, the bears have a chance for this to be a three-wave structure and the price is going to come down. They have a chance right now at this zone, and the invalidation for the bears is literally getting to 109.8k zone. Now, as we understood here, the bulls understand that looking at this movement to the upside from this correction, as mentioned throughout the last few days, your first initial wave is crystal clear. First wave up, wedgie structure in a correction, and then you have this next move to the upside. You have your second wave 1 and 2, your 3, and your possible 5 right over here, 4 and 5. This is finishing your third wave when you count this structure. You did not hit and you did not overlap this zone right over here, which is your first initial wave, and you did not hit the golden pocket. The 50% Fibonacci held beautifully, right? Even though you wick down beneath it, but your invalidation for this scenario on the higher time frame is crossing the golden pocket, which would eventually end up overlapping this pivot. That would have been very bearish. That would have been very bearish. I would be actually interested in analyzing, of course, the bounce later on to say, this is bearish, right? I'm interested in shorts if we would have retraced all the way down to these lows, right? Breaking up this structure, golden pocket hit. I would have said structure has broken and the bounce will be interesting for shorting opportunities. But we didn't hit it. We got a major bounce here. And, looking at Elliott Wave theory, the structure is pretty much intact as long as you are above these lows. If you did not overlap this pivot, if you did not hit the golden pocket from Fibonacci of this low to this high, you need to give priority to the bulls, even though you had this flash crash, okay? So it's still looking good. for the bulls, in my opinion. I mean, whoever got into, if you're ready for this technical move, a long position in this zone and your stop loss here to target new highs would have made a lot of sense, right? It's more of a swing trading idea scenario. You're literally looking at the 50%. If you get below 50%, it doesn't matter. But in this zone, what you're looking at eventually is your stop loss being at the golden pocket, right? And you're literally targeting the highs. So that would, that would have been a bit of an aggressive falling knife catch situation. But you have your levels, right? It's the structure, it's Elliott Wave theory, and you know that this would be your invalidation, which is literally overlapping that pivot, right? From the new structure, you don't want to overlap your pivot one. A bit aggressive, catching the low, but if you had this ready, then eventually you would have said, okay, that's definitely an option to long here around about the 50% Fibonacci and give the bulls a chance. What if you haven't catch this position, right? I did not catch this movement. I'm not too interested in the bearish case. I think the bullish case is going to be the one playing out here, legends. Okay, so we're going to analyze that scenario, because as soon as we hit the golden pocket, which is, I think it's going to manage to hit it, right? We're not getting too bearish, guys, just because we got this drop, right? Don't let the news affect your emotions. The structure is bullish. We got bullish momentum. This drop is like double top. Everybody's fearful. Tariff news, screw that, guys. We don't care about that. The structure is bullish and it's just a kind of a trap, right? It could be a massive bear trap. So we're leaning on the bullish case scenario. Forget the news. News is a bunch of BS. So if we do hit the that golden pocket, guys, it is game on for the bulls. It is game on for the bulls. I'm going to keep it here clear in a nutshell. In my personal opinion and my analysis, of course, you can do you and have your opinion, but I'm going to give you my opinion and looking at this scenario, the bears really need to defend this area, and we're just about to hit it right now. Golden pocket is just about to get hit, so we really, it's going to be game on for the bulls, guys. Whoever catch the falling knife, congratulations, right? If you would have had this analysis, then you would have said, I'm going to give it a shot, right? If you would have said, Andy talked about the structure initiating from this level, first initial wave 1, we're looking for our next waves to the upside, right? If you would have had this scenario ready, then your best long option with an invalidation, guys, it's important to understand where your stop losses are. If we, there's no doubt in my mind, if you would have tried to long here this falling knife, your stop loss needs to be in this area. Well, literally as you overlap this pivot. That's the moment where this structure is bearish. This is your invalidation, period, right? And obviously you're looking for new all-time highs, potentially, I don't know, maybe today, maybe in the next coming days. But this would be your strategy here, basically, right? You want to hold the 50% zone and you do not want the golden pocket to be hit. Now, maybe, I know some people said, I've jumped into a long position. Congratulations, guys, whoever catch that. Somebody said, I longed that $107,000 range. It does make sense when we do analyze this structure. It does make sense. I hope people are managing risk, right? But people are like, I catch the drop. I catch the drop with the news. I'm going to say it's important for you to take profit, right? And, it's pretty interesting because on the stream right now, I catch the drop. I'm short from 110K, right? Well, we're almost at 110K right now, right? Some people are very happy for shorting the news. Well, it looks like it's V-shaping for the moment, right? Market structure is still bullish, right? Despite the bearish news, guys. Forget about the news. So, let's talk about the new entry, right? If you did not catch the falling knife at the, at 108 or wherever, 107.5, there's going to be another opportunity, right? There's going to be another opportunity. There's always opportunities on the market, right? So don't feel bad of not, getting into any trades, right? That's why I don't give a damn of not entering a trade, because I analyze the volatility and we find opportunities every day, and we also try and make it high probability trades, right? We don't just randomly talk about short now, dump now, right? Long now, you know, and we look at a proper strategy, looking at, you know, the structure of the market. Yeah, here we go, guys. You know, the market is pumping. So this is really bullish, right? So this scenario is right now invalidated. The bearish case scenario for continuation to the downside is invalidated. So that's a good sign. Everything's looking pretty damn good for the bullish case right now. Of course, I would like to see a reaction here at the VWAP. Okay, despite if we do get back above here or not. I hope a lot of people that shorted the news took profit, right? You know, somebody said that they shorted at 110. Well, this is coming to your entry, right? If you short the news is just for fear, right? It's for making fear, right? To make you fearful. Would have been much more interesting to look for the long setup, as explained here, but now it's looking good. So now we're going to talk about the potential correction, because if this analysis is correct, which is the one that I am really heavily leaning on right now, okay, if this analysis is correct, to get this movement and come up to all-time highs, I want some information here. I want to see a pullback. I want to see some kind of a corrective move, because to develop a wave to the upside, wave 1 or wave 3, we move in a first initial wave, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. If we are going to create a fifth wave here, and everything's pointing out very nicely for the bulls to get to all-time high in the next coming days, if not hours, right? If it V-shapes, which is, you know, very possibly, right? Lots of people are going to think about a dead cat bounce. This dead cat bounce to then continue to the downside has decreased on probabilities massively. There's massive, you know, it's decreased in probabilities massively. So there's a higher chance that we do get to new all-time highs than we actually break down, as we do hit this important level when we consider the structure locally from the drop, right? So let's go right away through the different scenarios here. Previous all-time high, VWAP, not being much of a level. Anyway, what I wanted to explain is, if we are going to be creating this fifth wave to hit new all-time highs, we probably created massive amount of liquidity here, to be honest, right? You know, I would expect a pullback at some point, okay? And I want to really go through the possible pullback, and that's going to be our you know, the sweet spot, right? That's going to be the sweet spot where we say, this is it, guys. This is it, right? This is what we're looking for. And this is what increases the probabilities in us to get into a good trading setup. Now, some people might say, screw you and your analysis. I'm going to jump into a long right now. This is going to V-shape. Well, that's what we want to be aware of, right? We want to be aware of that corrective move. This is what we are interested in, right? Is the corrective move going to happen, or are we going to V-shape? I would just rather remain patient for it, right? I would rather remain patient. If I did not catch the massive bounce, then it does not matter. It does not matter, right? We don't want to, but the probabilities, as mentioned, to take out all-time high have incredibly increased right now. And the basic reason is we have hit the golden pocket from this pivot high to the pivot low. And when we understand that the largest moves are usually a wave C or a WXY on your Y wave, or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we understand that your wave 4 cannot overlap the golden pocket, right? And especially not hit the pivot low of your wave 1. So this is a good thing, right? Pullback is what is needed right now. Just understanding that the probabilities increase to hit all-time high with this movement than actually breaking down successfully here, right? Could we form a larger corrective structure and then move to the upside? That is also a possibility, but let's go with the most aggressive scenario here. And we're going to talk about the pullback and a little bit of the plan here, right? Because as mentioned, if this analysis is correct, guys, this might be a bunch of BS, right? I'm just a crazy guy on YouTube that doesn't have a clue of what he's talking about. He's just putting random waves and using Fibonacci wrong, right, on the chart. So, you know, make sure to understand that. Only joking, guys. I do have, you know, a lot of experience, as you know. Any legit follower knows that. So if this scenario is correct, guys, which for the moment it is leaning very, very nicely for the bulls to come back up to all-time high based on this movement. If we were to be forming this fifth wave, I don't know if it's going to V-shape or if it's going to form a 5-wave structure to the upside of some kind, because when we analyze the market, how it moves in this wave 1, yeah, we moved up in a 5-wave structure. When we analyze this wave 3, yeah, it kind of got the second, you know, the wave 1, 2, right? Sorry, this one right over here, wave 1, wave 2 here with your flat. Wave 3, nice, big, nice wave 3, very good indeed, right? Shallow wave 4, very common, boom, hit the highs, wave 5. As we do create these waves to the upside, and we do expect another wave to the upside here in your wave 5 in this scenario, well, shouldn't we move up in a kind of a 5-wave structure here, just like we did here and here? It kind of makes sense, right? We know that the probabilities are increasing right now. Of course, we are hitting VWAP and the previous all-time high. This is, you know, we're getting a bit of a reaction here. It's very much expected. You know, this is a high confluence zone. It's the previous all-time high, which is in confluence with the VWAP. So, yeah, I mean, it's natural to get a little bit of a reaction here. But we understand that the probabilities of the price nuking down here is low, right? Probabilities are low. Regardless if it does happen or not, guys, I would have to give a lot of explanations on the stream tomorrow. You said that this was unlikely, right? Unlikely means, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, right? It's just looking at the probabilities. We can never be 100% right, even though, you know, I might be 98% right. Only joking, guys. We can never be 100% right? So we just want to, and as we are not 100% right, we want to manage risk, right? We don't want to manage risk. So, and managing risk means this, right? Nice long setup yesterday, guys, okay? It's a day trade. You need to take profit at the highs. Whoever got into this trade, invalidation was clear. The take profit was clear, all right? Let's talk about the possible scenario that could be developing right now in the next coming hours, okay? Which would, you know, I only want high probability trading setups for you, right? I only want high probability trading setups. I want you to come tomorrow on the stream and say, epic trade, my man. That was insane. You know, we got in. It played out beautifully, right? I don't get that. I got, you know, some donut heads saying, you bearish. Are you still bearish? Are you wrecked? You know, and just remember the levels of resistance that we talk about. Never, just anyway. But I want to see people saying epic. You know, I've learned so much. I got into the trade. I understand, okay, this game. And, you know, thanks to you, I'm just getting into these high probability setups. I'm learning how to read the market. And that's the whole game, guys. This is why I am here, right? That's the whole game. Let me know in the comment section. Anybody got into this nice little day trade scalp, okay? All the way up to the highs. And, you know, we double topped, right? We double topped here and we came down. It wasn't an interesting short. We didn't talk about the short. We just need to see how the price develops, right? But, you know, we can't give information of what's going to happen tomorrow or in 2 days. We look at the price locally every day here, guys. And if you do enjoy that, I need you to smash up that like button. How many likes we do have, okay? Because we're going to talk about the setup right now. This is where the setup comes, okay? We're building up the, the analysis. We're talking about the resistance, a little bit of a reaction here at the VWAP. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people interested maybe in shorting the previous all-time high. This is the previous all-time high back test, right? We're hitting the golden pocket from the peak high of the drop right there. Golden pocket with the VWAP, all right? With the session VWAP, with the previous all-time high. It is getting a reaction. I don't like it for a short, guys. The probabilities increase right now for the price to break out with or without a correction. I mean, this is what I see right now. So I don't have clear targets for this short position, but it's a massive resistance zone. It's the golden pocket from the recent drop. It's the VWAP, and it's the previous all-time high from January. This is big resistance, and the pullback could start from this zone. Where's my target? What am I targeting here? You could possibly, stop loss at the high, depending if you entered in at the golden pocket here and the previous all-time high from January and the VWAP, getting a reaction like a swing failure pattern. Stop loss at the high. Like I said, the probabilities increase right now for the price to either do this or do this, okay? Or even lower and then move up. And this is what we are interested right now, okay? We are interested in this. So, yeah, for the shorts, I don't have clear targets. I realize that the bullish situation has increased in probability. And despite all of the confluence that we have here with the bullish market structure, for me, this is not a good short position, even though it's massive resistance. It's the golden pocket with the VWAP. Back testing the previous all-time high. I mean, come on, this is a beautiful back test, right? At least a little pullback, maybe of $1,000. I'm not liking it. I prefer to remain patient and at some point see the possible corrective move to the downside, guys. This, right, regardless if it's going to be like that or not, guys, I don't know. I do not know. But we're going to build a little bit of the situation here. I would be interested later on the break of trend, right? If we do consolidate, this could V-shape. I would expect the price at some point to get a decent pullback. At some point, right? Regardless if it's, I don't know, maybe it might be a regular zigzag, it might be wedgie. But this is what we need. We need right now your wave one to finish at some stage. If it V-shapes, then, absolutely great, right? Whoever's long from lower. So be it. I do not want to long here because I don't long at the top of a pump. I don't want to short realizing that the probabilities is actually quite bullish. So if you're not long in here or you're shorting, what do you need to see? Well, this is what we are going to get into right now, okay? The idea here is for this movement to the upside at some point start consolidating. And that's where we step in. We understand that if we do get another wave to the upside, which is incredibly increasing right now on the probability, we want to see some kind of a pullback, right? We want to see some kind of a corrective move in the next coming hours. Because on the waves that we do have to the upside, it is formed on lower time frames by lower time frame waves, right? Lower time frame waves. And this could be your first wave to the upside, which, can be very, very bullish. It can V-shape. We want that correction. Will we get the correction? I do not know. Will it be corrective? That's another thing, right? Because if this suddenly turns around very aggressively, then I will be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want the price. I don't want to catch, a major drop here. I really need the price to kind of chill, right? Chill. have a sideways corrective move. So what we, for anybody looking for the next setup, instead of longing here at resistance, even though the probabilities is to break out, guys, and hit new all-time highs, okay, here in this situation, it's not sensible to long at a resistance, right? Long at the top of the bounce. And of course, the shorts are not interested, not interesting, just because the probabilities right now increase for this to be part of a correction. So let's remain a little bit patient here and wait for that corrective move. Big resistance. This is the previous all-time high, guys. Look at the reaction that it's getting right now. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. It's just at price right now. This is the all-time highs of January. Big back test. I mean, for many, this would be like the perfect back test short of a failed auction, right? A failed breakout. Double top, guys. I mean, this for the bears has to be, it is resistance. It is resistance. It's kind of a big back test. You're literally back testing right now the previous all-time high. It just sounds like an epic short, right? On the higher time frame, you're back testing the previous all-time high with the VWAP. It just looks like an epic short because of the confluence that there is here. But I'm not shorting here, guys. I'm not shorting. I'm not shorting here, legends. Not shorting here. And it might be, I do think that the price could correct from here, or it could move up and start correcting from here. So let's analyze the local time frame here ever so slightly and analyze the situation. I mean, this is a beautiful way on how we moved up here. Beautiful way on how we moved up. Very, very 5 wavy, absolutely golden. Look at this on the lower time frame. Beautiful, beautiful, very, very nice. Oh man, if we start correcting from here at the VWAP and the previous all-time high back test, which is getting massive resistance, if we start moving down here like this and like this, oh wow, this is going to be the golden ticket, guys. This is going to be the golden ticket, right? I'm not sure if we will correct from here. I mean, hopefully we will. Of course, the situation here with this could be a 1-2, 1-2, third wave. We're going to pop out. This could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe it's finishing the structure at this massive resistance. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it is. But considering the massive bullish case scenario is a double 1-2, you're building up the third wave, or you're building up the third wave, the third 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, boom. Hopefully we do get a natural corrective move in a 3-wave structure, and there's going to be 2 ways in, 2 different ways here. On looking for the perfect setup, right? That's what we try and build here, the perfect setup. Setups are never perfect, but we try and build the perfect setup, right? This would be beautiful. You've got a nice 5-wave move to the upside. You're hitting a massive resistance zone, and it would be really nice to get lots of people interested in shorting the VWAP and the all-time high, bringing the price down. And this would be the perfect moment to create massive bullish CVD divergence, right? It will be the moment to create massive bullish CVD divergence. We're not too far away on Bybit in forming bullish CVD divergence. That's what we want to see, okay? We want to see people shorting this level. Let's see if that is going to be a possibility here. VWAP, previous all-time high backtest, golden pocket from this drop. It's just a perfect confluence level. So a movement down here would make sense. A movement down here would make sense, but I am more interested in the big move up. I'm more interested in this wave, okay? So that's something that we need to identify right now with this movement to the downside. which is that kind of three-wave structure. Now, most commonly, right, if we detect from this corrective structure, legends, right, the most common retracement, right, for your wave 1, for your wave 2, sorry. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50% to the 7/8 Fibonacci is your most common retracement zone here for your wave 2. If we detect here your wave 2 right there, I mean, this just barely scratched the 50%. Yeah, it just got slightly below the 50% Fibonacci. So as we understand that we probably have another wave to the upside here, and this is your first initial wave, we want to see that pullback of some kind, regardless if you break out here, preferably to the 50% zone, right? At least at a bare minimum would be ideal, because most commonly you do retrace to at least the 50%. Here you had almost the 0.88, no, actually 0.88, I think, 50% in this case. On the next scenario, next wave here to the upside, also 50% Fibonacci, right? On your waves 1, right? Wave 1, wave 2, 50% Fibonacci. Wave 1, wave 2 on your flat, just scratching the 50% Fibonacci. So at least to the 50% Fibonacci would be ideal. And that's what we're going to wait for, guys. If the price, lots of people are going to say, I'm shorting here, guys. This is a beautiful back test from the previous all-time high and the VWAP and the golden pocket, right? It's just a big resistance. I'm not too interested in the short, to be honest. Just realizing the bullish case. But it is a beautiful confluence level. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. It's a beautiful confluence. I don't like the short here. Just realizing that the structure is bullish still. The structure is bullish. So let me know in the comment section. I would be pretty interested in knowing. For me, it's a no-no. Even though the resistance and the confluence here is massive, for me, it's a big no here, guys. A big no-no. Maybe some people are saying, it's dumping long later. It is a good short, though. Yeah, it is a good confluence, okay? It is a good confluence area, but I wouldn't say it's a good short position, all right? It's a big confluence area. Previous all-time high from January, the session VWAP, and the golden pocket from the latest drop, right? You just got the planets aligning of confluence right there, which is, this is the main reason why we're getting a reaction. But I'm very much aware of the extreme bullish case scenario. Everything points out that the bulls have priority right now. And if the bulls have priority, I understand the different setups from this low. And the most bullish one is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And you suddenly rip here. So understanding that the bulls have priority right now, you need to understand the different structures that you could develop in the movement to the upside. And one of them is the 1-1-1-2 scenario, right? Which is, you know, the worst case scenario for the bears here is that you're going to pop out in a third wave massively, which is, you know, that's when you understand here, understand the game, right? So the easiest scenario for us is literally waiting for a corrective structure. I have to say, you know, I don't know if it's going to happen. If the most bullish case scenario is going to be a 1-1-1-2, then you're looking at a third wave pop out here and then 4 5s, and you're just going to rip again to hit all-time high, which would end up being that V-shaped recovery, right? Do you want to take the chance and long at resistance? Well, you know, for me, it's not a game of, I'm not interested in these kind of trades, right? So, yeah, looking at the movement here to the upside. So much choppiness. Let's go. It would be ideal at some point. It would be ideal I mean, if this is a double 1-2, did we have bullish CVD divergence? Whoever tried to catch this zone, obviously this is your stop loss area as explained on the higher time frame. Is doing absolutely great, right? Remaining patient is the best thing that you can do when you're trading, right? When you understand the scenario. So if this were to be, hopefully it is, a 5-wave structure, hopefully it is, guys, and we're going to get that nasty dump, get a bit of fear. That's what we want to see, right? That's when we look to pull the trigger. I'm going to build up this scenario because I realize this is a way on how the market can move in the next coming hours, right? And if it moves just as we say, just as I say, it could be the opportunity area, right? So let's go with the possible scenario number 1. This is a 5-wave structure. This is massive resistance. And hopefully we do get a pullback. We do get a leg to the downside. And at least, most commonly, okay, you would pull back at least to sweep up this low. Okay? Of course, that's when you start to get a major base, right? You got the highs right over here. Beautiful. This did not overlap this pivot. So it's a beautiful wave 4 right there. Hopefully, this is a 5-wave structure and we are going to get some kind of pullback to sweep up these lows. This is the ideal scenario, and it's also the most common area for the price to move to move. Would I be interested in a big massive move down and absolutely sniper a long position here and put a limit order? Absolutely not, guys. This could nuke down. There's no limit orders. There's no quick entries, right? It's just not possible. You need to set some alerts and then analyze the structure. If we were to move down here, get a little bounce, and then do this, then that's going to be extremely interesting. If we go with the most, with the best confirmation ever, we would just put a trend line here, right? Instead of trying to catch the low, then you got the trend line confirmation. And remember, this is labeling that this could be your first initial wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. We realize that the bulls have priority here. So in an ideal world, we get a pullback for our trading setup, right? In an ideal world, we get the pullback and we analyze that pullback. Preferably, we do form some kind of a 3-wave structure. And if we do have CVD, regardless if you're using CoinGlass or AGGR trade or XO charts or whatever, in an ideal world, you want to see lower lows on the CVD at some point. I mean, this would be ideal. It's not a must, but it's ideal because, that's when you see a lot of shorts entering the market, right? And that's what you want to see that, right? You want to see people realizing the amount of resistance that we're at right now. Okay, the resistance is massive. I think there's lots of shorts going to be entering here, without a doubt. Lots of shorts entering here. This is our zone of interest. This is starting to be our zone of interest. When we take a look at Fibonacci retracement from the pivot low to the pivot high, and remember, we want the pullback, okay? We want the pullback. We want the pullback. So if it comes down here, perfect. This is what we want. I don't want this. I don't want the price to break out from here because I'm missing a trade. I can't long at resistance. Bears are going to be like, this is for shorting. I'm shorting right now. We're going to come to the lows. Big resistance. Yeah, it's without a doubt a big resistance, guys. I'm not interested personally in this short position. Let me know if you are interested. If you jumped into the short, I just don't like it. The confluence is massive, but when we go through the structure and the price action, it's looking better for the bulls. Okay, and this is till proven otherwise, right? How will I be proven otherwise if the price starts nuking here very aggressively? If the price starts nuking very aggressively, there's no quick long position for me, okay? And I'm going to explain the easiest setup here just for a better confirmation. And this is why we have this trend line. Trend line would be the best, easiest confirmation, right? Which is literally despite the major drop or lower high and another major drop here, what you would want to analyze is the lower high resistance. Okay, and once you break out from that trend, you know that this could be very much happening, right? You know, you're literally putting your stop loss beneath the low. This would be the easiest confirmation for this to be a correction. So it's really a game right now to remain patient. We do not want to see the price nuking. We want to see the price dancing around. Preferably, we don't know if it's going to happen, guys. Most commonly, it would happen. We got a nice structure here to the upside, 5 waves for the bulls. As we hit this level, it's looking good. Preferably, we do get a little bit of dancing momentum here. And the best scenario would be this, okay? This would be the easiest trade for the viewer. Wait for a channel-y structure to the downside. And you're literally targeting, you're targeting all-time highs in this situation, okay? You're targeting all-time highs. Keeping it simple. Wait for a movement down. Wait for a channel structure. You're possibly going to form a lower high and revisit the lows. Very classic, right? Downtrending kind of scenario. If we form this kind of momentum, right, and we're channeling here, this is your golden ticket. This is your golden ticket. Just realizing that maybe 50% bounce. Maybe we come down to the 7-8, right? And it's an aggressive zigzag. And it comes down here and it sweeps up these lows. That will be interesting. But instead of trying to predict that the 50% is going to bounce, or the golden pocket is going to bounce, we do not know. We know that this zone is the most common area for the price to really get that bounce. What the easiest scenario is wait for that channel, that lower high resistance trend line to get the breakout. And this right over here would be your golden ticket. Instead of trying to predict 50% is going to bounce, the golden pocket is going to bounce, the 7-8 is going to bounce, right? Maybe you don't reach the 50%. Maybe the price is forming a triple 1-2 setup here, and it's just going to fly. You know, I don't know, but I don't know what's going to happen. You know, this could be a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, boom, 3. You know, it just breaks out. There's no retracement. Everything that we planned has gone in the bin. But regardless, it's a plan. It's a very successful plan, and that's what we do here, right? We try and build up the highest probability scenarios. So maybe a lot of people are saying, "Screw you! This is bearish now. Double top on Bitcoin on the higher time frame." This is a plan, guys. Okay, I don't know how the price is going to develop, but preferably we do get this choppiness to the downside, and we start seeing either support at 50%. Most commonly, you would sweep at least this low, okay? Most commonly, if this is a 5-wave structure, most commonly, you would at least sweep up this last higher low at 108.8K, okay? Could that be the level that actually gets the bounce and it flies from here? We know that this is what's going to be very interesting, of course. You know, it might just be a shallow pullback. You might just sweep up these lows. It would be an aggressive SFP, of course. But if you move down here, boom, 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 and then you get the leg down, I think it would be a very aggressive. I think the easiest scenario here would be wait for the trend breakout. Now, we might be building all of this, guys. I just want you to realize that the highest probability right now is actually getting a pretty insane recovery, okay? New all-time highs is expected. based on the information that we have on this pump. Okay, so some kind of a correction is very, very likely. Okay, some kind of a correction is very, very likely at some point, unless we do not get the correction. Okay, which is going to be unless we have a multiple 1-2 setup here, which eventually is going to pop out, right? It would pop out from this zone. That's the most bullish case scenario, that this is just a multiple 1-2 and it actually V-shapes. It's a possibility, right? I cannot say it's the highest probability, but it's definitely a possibility that it could do that. So let's remain a little bit patient, right? Trading is all about having a plan, looking at the structure, understanding that the bulls do have priority. We are at resistance, so it would be nice. There is a chance here in pulling back. All right, there is a chance of pulling back. I don't like the short because I understand the bullish case scenario. Bullish case scenario has priority. So shorting right now, even though it's massive confluence, doesn't make sense, right? Because I understand that the bulls have priority here at the moment. So, yeah, it's gonna be a matter of being a little bit patient here to see if we do get that corrective structure. And of course, if we do nuke down here, legends, there's no option here. Okay, there's no jumping quickly on a trade based on my analysis, because preferably we do see a kind of a choppy corrective structure, a bit of a channel-y scenario here. That is the moment that we are going to be ready. And of course, the trend breakout from your lower highs is going to be your safest option. And this trend breakout, if we were to form a channel-y wedgie structure, stop loss beneath the last low, is a massive move. It's a massive move up. Okay, I mean, depending on the low, depending on the structure, this is just making you ready for this trading setup. Okay, so let's see if we do get that channel. Let's see if we do get some kind of a correction. We do have reasons to believe that the correction could start from this region, because this is big resistance. We got the VWAP, we got the previous all-time high levels, right, which is from January, and we got the golden pocket from the recent drop. So this is big resistance. Let's see if we do get that channel formation, and where I would want to see the price, okay, stop is in between the 50% Fibonacci, okay, and the 7/8 Fibonacci zone, and that is sweeping up the last higher low, which would be labeled as your possible wave 4, right? And then this is the game. This is the golden ticket. We're expecting a wave 3 to the upside to claim new all-time highs. You know, please note that a triple 1-2 is also an option. And especially if we're going to get some local bullish CVD divergence, and I think we are, okay? Yeah, we're getting some pretty intense local bullish CVD divergence. We are getting those shorts entering the market here, which eventually could be that fuel to pop out from the highs in that wave 3, okay? There are shorts entering the market right now at this resistance, which could, you know, that's definitely fuel for the price to pop out, of course, right? Local bullish CVD divergence is on the formation. So let's go through the comment section, legends. Remember that you do have a great bonus down below in the description, guys, on multiple different exchanges. You do have weeks, incredible deposit bonus, 20% deposit bonus up to $400. You do have up to $30,000 deposit bonus. You just need an email and a password here. You can trade almost anywhere in the world. You don't need a VPN. And you also get 25% fee reduction, guys, okay, on the first link down below in the description. Make sure to sign up, claim those bonuses. You also have Bluffin right now. It also has a $300 deposit bonus as well. I think it has a 15% deposit, okay? 15% deposit bonus at the moment. Need to change the bonus on Bluffin, guys, okay? You just need an email and a password on both of the exchanges, right? No VPN. Let's go right away through the comment section. We want to get into the good trades, guys. Okay, want to get into the good trades. I want to know anybody. It's been a little bit of a the bulls have priority. Okay, so whoever shorted the news, I would say, I hope you took profits. Okay, we are in a very bullish market. All right, and if you did short, be defensive, take profits, and whoever longed, I don't know, somewhere in this region, of course, we could dip down to the zone. That's the moment that I would be very interested in jumping into this long. But I'm just going to say that the bulls that entered in this area have extreme priority, okay? Of course, if you did understand the higher time frame analysis, which is this structure right over here, okay? If you do understand this structure that I've explained at the beginning of the stream, then you realize that this pivot is your invalidation. So if you did long, right, give or take 50% Fibonacci or the falling knife, I hope that people do trade with good risk, guys. Really, this is your invalidation. If the price would have, you know, continued to the downside, eventually it's going to get some kind of a big bounce at some point. But if you do hit this level, then, you know, we're probably going to go to lower levels, right? We're probably going to go to lower levels if you did overlap this pivot. Just understanding the structure of the market. So market makers, the whales, the big traders understood that this pivot had to be defended. Right? Massive buying pressure right over here at this zone. So whoever longed from here, I'm going to say you're in a very good position. You're in a very good position if you longed in this zone. However, the people that did not long that level, there is an opportunity on that structure that we do that we could see developing right now in the next coming hours. Okay, we need a correction. We need a descending channel-y move, right? Regardless if it's going to be aggressive or not. We need some kind of a three wave, some kind of a corrective zone, maintaining the 50% 7/8 Fibonacci retracement. And once we get that choppiness, it's going to be looking very, very good. Okay. And the most conservative scenario to jump into the trade is waiting for the lower high resistance break, because what you could be developing is a massive third wave. Now, of course, we are entering into the weekend, and I wouldn't expect too much volatility, even though some weekends that we've had the last few weeks have had quite a bit of volatility. Okay, the last few weekends have had a bit of volatility, so maybe this weekend we will get that volatility. All right. That VWAP and the previous all-time high and the golden pocket is doing its job here with the reaction. And I'm sure a lot of people are very interested in that short of the back test of the previous all-time high. I'm not too interested. I do see the price correcting, okay? But ultimately, in my opinion and my analysis, the probabilities are higher to push up, guys, and hit new all-time highs. Let's go through the comment section. Say hello. CBM, let's push to 800 likes. Guys, if you did like the educational content, right, this is pure explanation on realizing who is winning the battle here despite of the news. Don't get trapped with the news, guys. All right, the market structure is bullish. We're hitting some very good levels to give priority to the bulls on the higher time frame. So it's looking pretty good. All right, this has been a news-driven event, and maybe a lot of people are going to be saying, double top, it's time to go lower. Bulls have priority. Okay, let's go right away through short 50x. You're absolute legends. You know, you might play out here for a correction of $1,000 or so, but anyway. 𝗕𝗶𝗆𝗽, let's give a shout out to this legend who's in the comment section. Let's go. Absolute epic stream, guys. Make sure to destroy that like button because today has been epic. Thank you very much for joining. We had over 1,000 people watching the stream here in the last last hour or so, right? Pretty sustainable, very nice indeed. I hope you did really enjoy that, education through the market structure, understanding that the bulls do have priority here, guys. Okay, so make sure to destroy that like button and make sure to check out CBM, 𝗬𝗫𝗽𝗫, who is here in the comment section. He's in the pinned comment, guys. Make sure to check out 𝗬𝗫𝗽𝗫, is posting content every single day, looking at different scenarios, different news that comes out. He's very fast on the news. He actually shorted the news, okay, with his community, which was pretty insane. I was having lunch, but he actually shorted the news very, very successfully. And I just came back and I saw the drop. So I didn't care. But he did short the news. Absolutely epic 𝗬𝗫𝗽𝗫. Shout out to him. Make sure to go and follow him, guys. He's an absolute legend. Let's go right away through comment section. Somebody saying here that it's 50x short. Let's go. You're legends. Smash up the like button. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not liking the like button, guys. We were over 1,000 people watching. Not even 500 likes. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and take a hike. And when I come back, I would really like to see 500 likes because I just provide you the information that there is, right? Talk about the different setups. We love it, guys. We love it. I love it. It's beautiful to look at the previous day, realize the validations, realize the local trading setup. This was yesterday, guys. Come on, where's the love on the channel? Let me know if there's anyone better on providing setups and scenarios. Let me know in the comment section. Come on, legends, let's go. I'm going to go and take a hike. Let's see that 500 likes. And then I'm going to go and say hello to the beautiful community. We can take a look at some altcoins, take a look at some stuff together. First, I'm going to take the hike. Like button exploding. Let's go. Wow. 1,000 likes, guys. Amazing. Almost. We did get above 500. That's good enough. That makes me happy, guys. Makes me happy. Andy, te quiero, amigo. 𝗬𝗫𝗽𝗽. I love you too, man. 𝗬𝗫𝗽𝗽, ¿de dónde eres? Where are you from? CBM here in the pinned comment. Shout out to you. Crypto Big Brains. There is no one better, Andy. Crypto Big Brains. Someone saying that is in a 50x short position. This is big resistance, guys. But remember, the bulls have priority. The bulls have priority, okay? So stay cautious, even though we are at resistance. Oof. The bulls have priority, guys, okay? You have been warned. All of those people that want to short, manage risk. I don't like it. I don't like it. 𝗖𝗿𝗆𝗽𝗫. Okay, I'll say okay. All right, yeah, very possible. Okay, I love 𝗖𝗿𝗆𝗃𝗽. He's such a nice, cool dude. We did a collaboration 3 years ago. I like 𝗖𝗿𝗆𝗃𝗽. Very good. I'm not sure if he goes too in detail on the local timeframes, right? I'm not too sure if he goes in detail on the different scenarios and tells you the probabilities, who has priority. I'm not too sure about that, okay? Not too sure. German North Sea. Andy Schiller, some micro caps. Yeah, Crypto Big Brains is cooking. Carl, my man, much love to you. The Oven at Andy equal King Legend. We're all legends here, guys. And I hope that all of you really suck up all of the knowledge that I've learned throughout the last 7 years now. 7? Oh, no, 8 years actually. 2017, I started my trading journey, my investment and trading journey. I started buying stocks. And in 2018, I sold all of the stocks and I bought Bitcoin and crypto. Went full on crypto in 2018. So, and just really sucking all of the information on reading the charts. Anyway, let's go right away. You need a thumbnail designer. Yeah, my thumbnails look like crap. My thumbnails suck. I know. Thanks, mate. Abir, you need a thumbnail designer? Okay, that's a question. I also designed Jason's free course thumbnail. Very cool, Abir. Yeah, I mean, contact me on Telegram or Discord down below, my man. Why not? Why not? Stop drawing random lines. We all know you are the biggest crypto scammer. Oh my goodness, me? Really? Unknown user? Really? Oh wow, that's an insane comment. Unknown user, no way. Is that, hey, you've been a legit follower. I think you're being sarcastic here. Come on, you're being sarcastic. Is that true? Does that, you know, Jason Casper trades the 1 second chart. Jason Casper trades the 1 second chart. Okay. All right. Abir is great. He does my thumbnails too, says 𝗕𝗶𝗆𝗽. Just joking. Okay, my man. I know you're a good dude. I was like, I was in doubt there. I was like, oh my goodness, that's such a nasty comment. Biggest scammer ever. No, we educate. We talk about setups. You know, I'm not a perfect guy. No one is. Like button. Let's go, Reza. Anyway, let's talk about some altcoins. ¿De dónde eres, Andy? De España, amigo. Juan Caber. Carl Emil, much love. Unknown user is also unsure how intelligence works. He's a great dude. You're amazing, Andy. I love you. I love you too, Mustaine. Andy is a real one for sure. 𝗕𝗶𝗆𝗽𝗽, much love. Much love to you. Much love to everybody. Hola, ¿puedes habilitar el traductor para que no hablamos inglés? Saludos. Me gusta mucho cómo analizas. Eduardo, miraremos de hacer eso, ¿vale? Lo vamos a arreglar. Andy is sincere. Thank you, my man. All right, that's enough because, you know, I'm going to get all emotional here. I'm going to start bursting into tears, right? I'm going to start crying right now like someone that I know, which we're not going to give any names. You are my crypto savior. All right, guys, let's talk about some altcoins. Stop it with the nonsense here. We're going to get all emotional and cry and love each other, right? No, guys, we ain't doing that. Come on. 𝗓𝗏 Network. I mean, when these altcoins are starting to pump, guys, I'm really going to stop talking about them. I'm not the greatest altcoin analyst out there, but I do see potential on many of them. And in altcoin season, right, this is like everybody's a genius season, right? Anything that you buy is going to pump maybe 3x, 5x, 10x. I just like these projects. I did like where they were. 𝗓𝗏 Network has been pumping a little bit throughout the last couple of days. But this was the buying zone, okay? Holy moly. This is ready to explode. This is where the money is going to be made right now. And of course, if you buy Bitcoin right now, right, as an investment, just for a 2x, we need to get to 220K, right? It's like, oh my goodness, you know, that's not going to happen. And on altcoins, of course, you do have the danger of the downside, which is dropping 30, 40, 50, 60%. But it's all understanding where are the best buying zones, right? When you dump like crazy. 𝗓𝗏 Network, I would say it's still kind of okay. We just need to be a little bit aware of Bitcoin getting a larger pullback in the next coming weeks, which will provide the pullback for many altcoins. So 𝗓𝗏 Network, we were talking about this a few days ago. I just don't want to talk about them. When they pump, you know the deal, guys. When it's time to buy, we will talk about it on a few streams. When it starts pumping, it's like, yeah, if you did not get into the train, we ain't going to say it's still early. It's still early. I do think it's still early. I'm just aware of people not getting in at the right moment, right? And they're going to be in the dip before it moons. I don't want that for the people, right? I want the people to buy at the corrections. So a lot of the altcoins have been pumping quite nicely, right? Regardless if it's 20, 30, 50%, right? 𝗬𝗆 has been one of the best performers the last few days. This one's been doing very, very well. This pumped over 100% in the last week. Last 3-4 days, actually. It's been doing very, very well. So this is kind of leading the way on some altcoins. But we don't want Hyperliquid as well, doing very, very well. We got the 𝗖𝗍 hack, right, from the liquidity provider that did get a little bit of an impact. But yeah, I think 𝗬𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗃 also started the rally a little bit. Okay, 𝗬𝗿𝗆𝗽𝗃 did pump quite a bit. Oh, it's dumping a little bit now on the lower time frame, but yeah, this is one that we were talking about, the ascending triangle, right? When we do zoom out, this is like the best zone to start really buying here. Around about the 4 cent zone, right? 4.2. It's at 4.9 at the moment, but 𝗬𝗿𝗆𝗽𝗃, I think, is an awesome project made in USA. You would say it's still soon, right? Be aware, of course, of the risks that altcoins do bring. I'd never like to put too much onto altcoins, but of course they could give you that moonshot, right, of 5, 10, 15x, which Bitcoin cannot give me at the moment, right? When we think as an investment, if you have some spare money, I want to, diversify a little bit to just let's see if it does happen, right? Altcoin future is very uncertain, right? For many projects, right? 𝗬cie, who's in love with 𝗬cie, right? Well, then we have the liquidity provider that is, I don't know what happened. And then, nothing too serious, I have to say. But it did have a little effect. Nothing too major, of course. 𝗬cie looks very, very bullish on the charts. There's no doubt about it. This does look very impulsive. You need to be aware of a larger pullback in the next coming weeks. And the pullback here for 𝗬cie. But on 𝗬cie, the same thing. You maybe do a 2-3x realistically in this bull run, okay? Realistically, getting to $8 or $10, that's a realistic target for 𝗬cie, right? There's no 100x or 50x for this coin, that's for sure. So I like to go a little bit down the rabbit hole, right? And talk about mid-low cap coins. And 𝗬𝗿𝗆𝗽𝗃, do your research, guys. This is one that I've researched. Ministry of Defense in the US is actually, using the network. The technology is great. Made in USA, very important. And also Phemex network, not only on AI, this covers everything. This is a really revolutionary altcoin, supposedly, right? When everybody talks about altcoins, they're all crap. It's all about understanding that we could get an altcoin season at some point, right, in the next coming months. And that we want to buy low, right? We don't want to buy on the hype, especially where Bitcoin is right now, because Bitcoin, it does make sense for Bitcoin to get a pullback, regardless if it hits 115 or 120K. In my opinion, there's very, very likely going to be some kind of a pullback on Bitcoin happening, okay? Which is going to bring people in doubt. Price discovery, everything's, blue skies and sunshine. We need to get people in doubt, right? For a double top. We need to get people in doubt. And obviously the best scenario would be a pretty nasty kind of corrective move before possibly continuing to the upside. If this does happen in the next coming weeks at some point, regardless topping out at 115 or 120, it doesn't would make sense. And you just need to be aware, of course, that the altcoins will pull back as well. So just be ready for those pullbacks. Just be ready that it's natural when you are accumulating for a for a moonshot, that you are going to be at an unrealized loss at some stage, right? You ain't going to catch the bottom and you ain't going to sell the exact top. And, for me, the best example is looking at the previous cycle, looking at, I was in a loss on many investments, and then the C19 crash came, guys. When I started buying in crypto in 2018, it was a 2-year accumulation. And, this is when I started right over here in the summer of 2018. So this was the range that I got into crypto. And I was in I was buying the dips and it was keep dipping, and then I buying the pumps, and then it keep, then buying the dips, and I'm in a loss here. Then the C19 crash comes and it's like, holy what the heck is happening, right? My portfolio of everything that I bought here is down 70% with this, bad boy. But then obviously blue skies after a few months. So I wouldn't say that we're going to see the same altcoin season, but I am happy with a 5x, 10x, guys. I do see realistically on many coins doing a 5, 10x. Okay, I ain't really seeing the 20, 30x's. It's very hard to get those. All right, unless you're early on some different projects. But anyway, you know, realistically, these projects that I mentioned, such as Phemex Network and Constellation DAG, it's a realistic 5 to 10x. 5 to 10x is realistic for these coins. And of course, could they do a 20, 30x? Well, I mean, maybe. Both of these projects, which are very, very good, they are low cap coins, really. Phemex Network is just over 100 million market cap, so a 1-2 billion market cap is realistic. Constellation DAG, more of the same thing. I think this one is 150 million, so getting above $1 billion for the peak moment is very, very realistic, right? We ain't going to talk about 10 billion, 20 billion market cap for these, because that's unrealistic thinking. So, and you want to buy at the right moment, right? Which is eventually in this zone of the corrective structure that we've had. And understanding that if Bitcoin does correct in the coming weeks, that we could see a little bit of a shakeout, right? Could see a little bit of a shakeout. And of course, you just need to be ready. But this is the moment to get that spike up at some point, okay? It is the moment. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. Good morning, 𝗕𝗫𝗽. How are you, my man? New mod. Crypto Big Brains, much love to you. Pac-Man was here. I think he's gone. Andy's currency is integrity and bigger brain genetics. Carl, much love to you, brother. Andy, you are awesome. Alan, you too. Andy is a legend. Ronald, you're all legends. We are all legends. Look at that graffiti here on the start of the stream. Legends. 𝗖𝗵𝗆 is also good. ICP is good. ICP, internet computer, even though 𝗖𝗵𝗆 is also a good one. You know the deal, right? ICP looks incredible. ICP looks incredible on the chart. My goodness, this is a full recipe to absolutely moonshot in the next coming months, guys. Be aware that this could maybe not be the low. It might just range. But this is what I tried to explain, right? Regardless if you create another low or not, the probabilities in getting that spike up in the next coming months is massive. So, yeah, same thing for 𝗖𝗵𝗆, guys. You know, 𝗖𝗵𝗆, just keeping it simple. Yeah, 𝗖𝗵𝗆 looks awesome as well, right? We got this bars pattern here. It's just realizing that the massive drop and the accumulation has started, right? Pump. This eventually did not continue pumping, and now you have the bottom formation, right? Aggressive drop, bottom formation. Pump, aggressive drop, bottom formation. So yeah, 𝗖𝗵𝗆 is still good regardless if it is going to go and have a little bit of a dip. You know, this is where it becomes interesting when you analyze the local time frame. When you analyze the local time frame, the best case scenario on the altcoins is a multiple 1-2 setup. This looks bullish. You know, worst case scenario, this is a 5-wave structure and you form a lower high and you dip down. This is the worst case scenario that I do see on many altcoins, right? That would be with the Bitcoin correction. You got a 5-wave structure here, remember, guys, to the upside. So a corrective move, a little shakeout before things go a bit crazy would make sense. Of course, the most bullish case scenario is a multiple 1-2 setup, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, boom. Then the price is just taking off already, right? It's the moment. So you want to be aware of these lows being claimed in the case of 𝗖𝗵𝗆, which is at 20 cents. Well, that would be the opportunity, right? This could be the last opportunity if we were to get that dip. So anyway, just take that into consideration. Legends, thank you very much for all of the kind words. We've gone through Bitcoin. Bitcoin is pretty much stuck at the VWAP and the previous all-time high. It's been a big, massive barrier here. It is resistance, VWAP, previous all-time high, golden pocket. But as mentioned, priority are for the bulls, okay? And what we want to see is some kind of a corrective structure forming here throughout the next coming hours. Weekend is coming, so could it be longer? Could we pump out? That resistance is being a big battle. I'm not interested if the price were to nuke from here. Okay, if we're nuking down, which I don't think is going to be the case, low probabilities on that scenario, I would not be interested in catching the drop. Okay, I want to see that boom, 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 and then this is going to be interesting. That will be interesting. Remember, what would be the strategy here? Most bullish case scenario is multiple 1-2 setup. We break out here very aggressively. Legends, thank you very much for your kind words. Remember that you do get those exclusive bonuses on weeks. There is 20% deposit bonus, $400 maximum, $30,000 of deposit bonuses. You just need an email and a password, and you do get 25% fee reduction once you sign up with the first link down below, okay? Bluffing is a great alternative as well, okay? So you just need an email and a password. Check out Bluffing as well, guys, because you do get all of those different perks when you sign up with the second link down below in the description. Let's see Bitcoin, how it develops in the next coming hours. Stay safe with your trading. Much love to everybody. And I'll see you in the next one.